Good morning, everyone. I hope you're well. I am live this morning talking to you about self-care at Christmas. So hopefully some of you can join me. I'll keep an eye on the comments. If you can see me, do say hello. Let me know where you're watching from if you want to. Um, and I'm here at a very big time of the year for so many of us. Christmas is quite overwhelming. So whether that's good or bad. And I'm here this morning to talk about self-care, what we can do to help ourselves, what we can do to help our children, and hopefully spark a bit of a conversation in the comments. If you've got any ideas or any questions or any suggestions, let's come together as a community and use this thread as a bit of an idea sharing thread. Do say hello if you can see me, because I am just looking at a computer right now, so I can't see an audience. I'll keep an eye on the comments, but I'm not sure how up to date they are. So do say hello. Oh, well, there are some people. My trusty, lovely sunshine lot. Morning, Kat, from sunny Derby. We do have sunshine in Derby today. Morning, Tom. I also know that it's very sunshiny where you are, which is also Derby. Morning, Nicole from Oxfordshire. Is it sunny there? Nicole is our amazing advocate. So it seems to be very sunshiny in the comments at the moment. Morning, Lisa. Where are you watching from? Do let me know. You're a top fan as well. So if you're watching, please do say hello. I will come back to the comments in a bit. So this morning I've got quite a lot to get through because I've got lots to share with you about self-care. And I want to get finished on time. So we'll be here until about 11 o'clock at the latest. So you can come in, come out at any time. But if you were watching, please do say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you've got any ideas about self-care or any questions or problems, do share if you feel that you want to. It is a public forum here. So do share whatever you feel is relevant and is you're comfortable to share. But Christmas is a big time of the year. And I say big, like I said earlier, because it's enormous and some of us love the enormity of it. And some of us hate it, probably for the same reasons as why I love it. And sometimes, like in my family, which is my family are really neurospicy. I do like that term. We've got a combination of both. So I've got one particular child who seemed to just hate Christmas. And I'm not sure whether that's because my love of Christmas has just become too overwhelming. And so that one's on me. And some of us who absolutely love it, namely me, and some of us that fluctuate between the two, and that needs real careful management. In fact, they all need careful management because I can absolutely become overwhelmed by it. So I have to be really careful how I tread into Christmas. And I'm very careful not to go into it too soon. I know a lot of people like to start like, as soon as Halloween is over, and I really work hard. I use my energy to not go into Christmas on the 1st of November. I mean, little bits do come out in the house, but never mind. But I think the one thing that's consistent, whether it's a good time of year for you and your family, or whether it's a bad time or just downright tricky, is that it's overwhelming. So like I say, I'm a self-confessed Christmas addict myself. My name is even Chrissa Mass. Okay. For goodness sake. Talk about bonkers. Anyway, but like I say, even I have to pace myself. And it's not just for me as a sort of dopamine seeking ADHDer, but as a caregiver and also as a loved one of my family members, because I have to parent, regardless of how exciting it is for me. It's really important that I parent. And it's not all about dopamining. I love that term as well. So mining for dopamine. So let's break this down. The biggest problems facing us as parents, by all means, share what you feel are the biggest problems facing you as parents or teachers or caregivers right now. But I think one of the big things that is consistent, whether it's in the SEND community or any parent at all, is the social media pressure to have a perfect Christmas. Color schemes, presents, the food, all of it. Just forget it. Just forget those pressures, because perfect Christmases do not exist. Not as a blanket perfect Christmas. It's all about rolling with it. Our Christmases change every year, but we have certain traditions that we all have put our ideas together and created. So they're never a sort of one-sided tradition. It's something that's very much usually centered around the children and what they enjoy at Christmas time. And it's seldom expensive things. The things that they really value is the time together. And we talk a lot about December being a time where we really do put a lot of place a lot of priority on spending time together. And I'll go through later on some of the activities that are really good for you as individuals and you as families. But I know that crafts and sort of arty things play a big role in our family. But anyway, yeah, the perfect Christmas doesn't exist. The perfect Christmas for you guys individually can absolutely exist in the fact that it's all about what your family needs. Not about what social media is telling you. Financial pressures, enormous at the moment. We know that. And I think there's a huge amount of pressure. There always has been pressure on sort of Christmas presents and things like that. But at the moment, I think with the current economic climate, there are even more pressures on families. Managing different needs within the family home. Like I say, you've got some real sensory seekers and you've got some, sensory avoiders. And then you've got children and adults that present as both avoidant and seeking. So managing those expectations within the family and the differing behaviors and presentations and characteristics can be really, really tricky. And everything's heightened this time of year. There's also an enormous pressure, which has been fed back to us. A lot of the families that we work with say this, that they are under pressure from family members to be the perfect part in their family's perfect Christmas. And it's really hard. It's easy for me to sit here and say, just opt out. Wouldn't that be just lovely to be able to just opt out and not be sort of pressured by other people's crazy standards? But it's not as easy as that. And there's a lot at play, particularly with families. And then that's really, really hard. And, I don't have any particular blanket advice that I can give to that because every single situation is different. Another thing that is a big problem is that there's an awful lot of peopling involved in Christmas. The parties, the get-togethers, the office fuddles. I don't know whether that's a Derby word. That's something I've picked up in Derby, a fuddle. But, where everybody in the office gets together, brings their beige tapas, and everybody has a little bit of something to eat together. But there seems to be a lot of different things. And for some people, that's great. And for others, it's just too much. And even for us, I love socializing, but I am very aware of sort of the sort of social fatigue that I can get from being sociable. And so knowing your limit is really, really tricky. There's also, the enormous sensory overload. You walk down the street, there's lights flashing in your face. You've got different smells happening at Christmas. If there's anything else that you can think of, I'm going to check the comments. Please do let me know, because everybody has their own. Aha, we have lots of people now. Okay, so my comments have just caught up with me. Sarah says, we don't really do Christmas. We do Christmas our way. Love it. No roasts, minimal gifts, no outings or family outings or gatherings. We decided years ago we have crackers and cheese and nibbles and PJs on, and whatever we want to do, whatever we want to watch or do. We call it our family day off. And we plan to opt out. Love it. That's what works for you, Sarah. And that is so, so important. Morning, Hayley from South Wales. I'm from South Wales originally. 27 years ago, I moved, and I try and keep my accent, although I think it is slipping away. Tom Wadlow suggests, would any of the solutions to these problems involve more Christmas trees? I like a Christmas tree. That's all I'm saying. I don't know whether I'm seeing all the comments, but please do keep the comments coming. Hello, Shamia from Derby. Hello, Jess from Derby. Oh, I'm seeing more comments now. Sorry, every time I reload, I see a load more comments. Anyway, it does get very, very overwhelming. And I think what we have to do now, I'm going to try and reframe quite a lot of how we see this time of year. But one of the main things we have to do is put ourselves first. It's not selfish to put yourselves first. And when I say this, I get a lot of eye rolls from other parents. I know what you're thinking. I remember being there. Okay. By the end of this Facebook Live, I hope that you can see my way of thinking. Now, go into the science of this. Okay. Professor Andy McDonnell, he's incredible. Give him a Google. He developed the low arousal approach. And that is like a behavior management program that focuses actually on the caregiver, not on the person that you're caring for. So this is not about the child or the person you're caring for that might be displaying behaviors that are tricky to manage, tricky to understand, maybe inappropriate, all those sorts of things, because their needs are not being met. Okay. So Andy always says you need to be looking at the caregiver. And that might be the parent, it might be the teacher, any kind of professional, or a professional caregiver. And it's all about checking in with you as the caregiver and making yourself well before you go offering anything to anyone else, including your children. So, if you don't feed yourself, for instance, you're going to run out of energy. You then cannot give anything to your children. If you don't sleep, and I know that sleep is a big problem for a lot of us, but if you don't sleep, there are so many things that impact your following day, in particular, your patience. We have very limited patience when we don't have sleep. So it's really, really important that we think of life when we're caregivers, and most of us are caregivers, whether we're parents or not, as using like the oxygen mask approach on an aeroplane, where they say before you go putting an oxygen mask on someone else, you must put it on yourself first. Otherwise, you're useless. If you don't have any oxygen, how can you look after your child? So we need to be thinking about our lives in that way. Or perhaps the spoons theory. Has anybody heard of the spoons theory? Give it a go. Give it a Google. For instance, so I'll break it down into something very simplistic, okay? You wake up with 100 spoons. So that's your energy bars, if you like. 100 spoons of energy. And every single physical or cognitive thing that you do in a day uses a certain amount of spoons. So you can't go offering people spoons if you don't have any. Does that make sense? Do let me know in the comments. So what can you do to look after yourselves so that you've got enough spoons? Have a think about it. Prevention is better than cure. Okay. So working on your self-care when you're not in a state of distress. So when we're in a state of distress, we go into sort of flight, fight, freeze, or fawn. We can't go working on ourselves when we're in that state of distress. Our brain isn't working properly. It thinks that we're going to die. It thinks that something terrible is going to happen to us. So our amygdala is all in a state of arousal. And it's like, oh, what is going on? We need to calm that down and get into a really nice state of calm and alert in order to be able to work on ourselves. And I think it's really, really important that you recognize the signs of when you're in fight or flight, the distress signs, and make sure that when you're not, that's when you do the hard work on yourself to make yourself better. So, we talk about not teaching a child to swim when they're drowning. If you see a child drowning, you don't say, right, let's do a lesson on front crawl. You jump in and you save them. And it's the same with you guys, okay, as parents. There's no actual difference. You're humans, your children are humans. We always talk about the children. We never really talk about ourselves. And it's really, really important that we, in a state of distress, when we're drowning, we're not trying to fix ourselves. Let's just rescue ourselves, be very, very kind and love ourselves, get ourselves to a point where we're safe, and then start doing this work on ourselves. And it's vital when we're doing this self-care, okay? And people think of self-care as having your nails done. I'm not going to be talking about getting your nails done today, okay? Just putting that out there. But it's really vital that we focus on our nervous system, in particular the vagus nerve. By all means, watch this back, give these terms a Google, okay? I'm not going to get too scientific because this is a Facebook Live and it's meant to be chatty. I'm not going to go and get all sort of scientific so you haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. But I just want you to think of it this way. Your spine is vital to your skeletal system. Everybody would agree, yeah? Everything is connected to your spine. Just as your intestines are vital to your digestive system. Yeah, if we didn't have our intestines, then we wouldn't be able to absorb vital nutrients, okay? And I appreciate that there are still many people who don't have intestines. I get that because of, things like Crohn's disease. However, your heart, for instance, is vital to your circulatory system. This is all the same as your vagus nerve, okay? Your vagus nerve is vital for your sympathetic nervous system. Now, your nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system also affects your heart and your bowel and everything else, okay? So it's really important that we're looking after it. If we don't care for our vagus nerve, we are neglecting so many other parts of our health. Because if our vagus nerve isn't fit and healthy, it can affect everything, okay? So if your vagus nerve isn't fit and healthy, you can be very low in resilience, which means things can affect you very, very quickly. And your brain perceives things to be dangerous that perhaps aren't dangerous, okay? So that could then lead to things like having a really bad stomach. So part of, I usually have, I say this every time, somebody has stolen, I'm going to go with it. Somebody has stolen my, my nervous system chart that I like to use. I'm going to have to buy another one. It's probably lost, by the way. I've got ADHD, but let's go with, I'm not going to accept the blame. Somebody's stolen it. So when your vagus nerve gets into a real state of distress, and this is because this is how it's perceiving the danger around it, not that something is actually dangerous. I hope that makes sense. One of the actual states you can get into is that your brain tells your body to evacuate because it feels like it's so stressed, it's going to die. And that's not actually accurate. It's that your vagus nerve has not been exercised and toned properly. So it's acting inappropriately and it's being a little bit too sensitive. So we've all been there where we get so nervous, we either vomit or we end up going to the loo. That's because our body is being told by our brain, by our vagus nerve, something terrible's about to happen, evacuate. And so that's where the term, I think I'm going to myself comes from. So it's really, really important that we're looking after our vagus nerve. We have to exercise it in the same way as you wouldn't be expected to run a marathon without training first. You wouldn't train when you're unwell. You would train when you're well. I hope this is starting to make sense. So we have to look after our vagus nerve. We have to give it some TLC. Without it, we're actually firing too much and our body is under too much stress and strain. And guess what? It affects our organs, okay? So when we are in a state of this heightened distress for too long, our body and our brain and our nervous system and everything else is not designed to be in that place for that long. So it means you do develop bowel problems, you do develop heart problems, you do develop lots of different problems. And there is a lot of research going in between autoimmune conditions and this. So and it can be very, very traumatizing, very traumatizing. So what can you do to practice self-care, to keep that nervous system working beautifully? when it needs to under stress. Now, number one, none of this needs to cost any money, okay? But this is not a magic wand. You do need to make you a priority. Plan things in, put them in your diary. Otherwise, they're just pipe dreams. They're just never going to happen. It's going to be something that you say, do you know what? I am going to do that. And if you're anything like me, that's just where it stays. I am going to do that. Put it in your diary, because what will end up happening is you will start to use all the other reasons in your life as excuses not to look after yourself. And then you'll become resentful. And resentful, sort of that resentment is not healthy for anyone, for you or the person who is involved. So one of the easiest things to do, it's free. You can do it over a period of a minute or 5 minutes or 10 minutes if you want to, depending on how long you have available. But it's a common thing in our office because I talk about it a lot. And we have a little saying, which I will tell you in a second, but it's something my children do, I do. So we need to stimulate that vagus nerve. Okay, one of the best ways to stimulate your vagus nerve and tone it up and make it feel like, woo, I'm exercising, is to get some vibration in there. So I've been known to do this on a Facebook Live before, and I'm going to do it again. You need to take the deepest tone you can in your voice and a nice deep belly breath. So your belly needs to go out, in through your nose, belly goes out, and then you go voo, really deep, just a voo. It doesn't need to be a v, but a ooh, okay? Nice deep sound. Do it now for just a few seconds. You will feel a little rush to your brain. It'll make you feel a little starry-eyed. It's lovely, okay? Now, there's something that happens in the daytime that you cannot control, and it needs to happen, and that is, it's lovely, okay? Now, there's something that happens in the daytime that you cannot control, and it needs to happen, and that is going to the toilet. So what we're going to do, okay, and I'm happy for you to tell people that I've said this, you're going to voo on the loo, okay? Because that way you do have time to do it. And the chances are you're on that toilet, the door is locked, hopefully, the kids are not getting in, just lock the door anyway. Take that time for yourself. Deep breath, close your eyes, and voo, nice and deep, okay? You can do it as many times as you want. I tend to do it 2 or 3 times when I'm on the loo. And guess what? It makes a big difference to when I'm stressed out, because actually I don't then feel like I'm out of control. I don't have meltdowns. I don't have situations where I genuinely can't think because things are so stressful. Those things don't happen anymore because I practice this all the time, a lot, along with a lot of other things. But that is something that's really simple. And one of the things that we do say a lot at work, and I know a number of staff members talk about this with their children, is vooing on the loo. So we voo on the loo, okay? So if you take nothing else away from this Facebook Live, voo on the loo. Havening. Now, again, I'm not going to go through this. I am not a havening instructor. I am not a psychotherapist. This is something that I have learned with my therapist. And also we have people in our organization that practice this for themselves, practice it with others, and they find it hugely beneficial. And it really, really is. Google, so have a look on YouTube. There's some really good videos actually on YouTube on havening and self-havening. There's some absolutely great videos out there. So have a little look, because that's something you can do with your children and you can teach them how to do it, but also you can do it yourself. So again, if you're going down the route of, and by the way, I highly recommend this, co-regulation with your children, so meeting them where they are, but also bringing in your own feelings and sort of co-regulating together. Self-havening and havening are really, really good tools. So give them a Google, free of charge. It's just something you can do at home. And it works on what your body needs. Okay, so there's 3 vital things within havening, and it's about touching yourself. So it could be your hands, your head, or giving yourself a hug. So it's very, very nice. It's a very nice type of therapy, and it's something you can do yourself where you feel safe, I personally will only do it with my therapist. If I do it by myself, I need to know that I'm completely on my own in the house and that I'm not going to be disturbed. It's something that is something very personal to you, but some mums have come into our hub and talked about how they do it with their children, and their children really benefit as well, and it's brought them closer together. So something that's free of charge. You don't have to wait for CAMS, you don't have to wait for anything else. This is something that's available right now. Just as soon as I finished, wait for me to finish because I've got loads more ideas, go on to YouTube and have a little look at havening. Now, something that I absolutely love is anything to do with water. So bathing and pampering yourself, making yourself feel nice. I love strong smells. So having a bath with bath salts that are really strong. I love the Radox ones because they're really strong smelling, and it gives I don't know whether it's a placebo effect, but I feel better for having bath salts in my bath. But have a bath. Again, not free of charge because you've got to run the water, but it's a really, really nice, indulgent way of looking after yourself. And if you can afford a spa and it's accessible for you, then go for it. Book it in, get it booked, book the tickets, go and enjoy yourself. But if all you can afford, or maybe time-wise all you can afford, is to do it at home, get in the bath. If the kids are in bed, if they're safe and they're happy, go and enjoy yourself. Have a bath and chill out. Breathing and meditation is really, really important. Now, I am not a massive fan of meditation because having ADHD and having a trauma profile, I find that quite restricting. I don't like being told to shut up and be quiet and close my eyes and be in one space. I find that really tricky. However, just recently, we had an amazing trainer come into Sunshine Support and do some work with us called Cull Mahay. And Cull did some guided meditation with us. And it was absolutely incredible. And I felt so much better for it. So I have started practicing my own at home. It's not hippie. It's not a fairy tale. I only do things when it's based on science or that I actually can see that it works. But it really does work. And it helps, again, tone your vagus nerve. It supplies your brain with oxygen, which is really, really important because oxygen is the only thing to calm your amygdala down. Your amygdala is like your survival brain. Like, oh, if something poses a threat to you, we go, oh, like a meerkat. And a relaxed kids, they use it, the terminology, it's a meerkat that's sort of popping up and going, oh, what's going on here? So the only way to calm that down when you're feeling stressed out is oxygen. That is what calms that down. And it starts to give space to your cognitive brain. So you can actually make sound decisions again. And then once that happens, you'll start to feel better. But anyway, meditation and breathing, deep breathing is so, so important. And it can help as a thought blocker. So you can start then recuperating from the stress. Now, we as an organization really benefited together as a team from the guided meditation. So we have a bit of a treat for you. Our amazing academy team, who are video producers and video directors, they have developed some guided meditation videos for you if you're on the academy. If you're not on the academy, get on there. You're going to learn so much from the academy. But from the 1st of December, we have our guided meditation videos that are going to be live. So you can just use them by yourself or show them to your children and get them to do it. It's got a beautifully soft, soothing voice, not mine, on the video. And I think it's going to be just the tonic over Christmas. Meditation really does allow you to be in the moment rather than fighting fires all the time, which we do so much, don't we? We really do. Now, in terms of thought blocking, I just mentioned thought blocking. A lot of people use activities to block thoughts. Activities like any kind of exercise. Exercise is a really good thought blocker, actually, because when you're in the gym or you're doing something to work your body, whether it's like, going for a walk, going for a run, whatever, actually your brain is focusing on your breathing, it's focusing on surviving in that moment. And so it's a really good thought blocker. Singing is the same. I love singing. And in both activities, you do feed your body with oxygen because quality breathing is really important to both exercise and singing. And you're also getting, you know, rushes of lovely hormones, dopamine, endorphins, cortisol. Oh, there are lots. Really lovely. So you feel good, don't you, when you have a good sing. One of our staff members actually, when I was asking, you know, what do you guys do for self-care? And she said, oh, I love singing Disney songs in the car with the kids. Oh, it's just lovely. And I was thinking, oh yeah, me too. And then she said, and then as soon as I'm child free, I switch the Disney songs off and I switch the not so child friendly songs on. With expletives and swearing. I'm not naming the staff member, by the way, but I can totally relate. But thought blockers really are important. However, this is why you need to have a mix of things going on. What thought blockers don't do is they don't work on what's actually bothering you. And that's where therapy comes in. So it's really important to have a mix. The thought blocking is not going to fix your problems because all it's doing is delaying your thoughts on them and helping you recuperate so you feel better about approaching them. So you can start your own therapy. Okay. Now I get that, you know, therapy is hard to come by. The NHS seldom offer more than CBT, which is a terrible therapy for trauma in particular, and also neurodivergent people, because actually we're not trying to correct behaviors. That's not what we're doing. And that's what cognitive behavioral therapy is very much sort of fixated on, is behaviors and where behaviors come from and how we therapize our way out of them. For some things, that's really, really good. But for the majority of things, it doesn't work, particularly with trauma. So it's really, really hard, if not impossible in most areas, to get anything other than CBT on the NHS. So I'm going to give you some simple things that you could be doing yourself at home, unless you can afford therapy, and in which case, have a look on the BACP website for a trauma therapist or a therapist who is trauma responsive. Because if you're watching this and you're on our page, the chances are you've experienced trauma because you're a SEND parent or a SEND caregiver in some shape or form. So a few simple mind switches that you can activate right now to help yourself. So rather than trying to reduce your negative thoughts or negative things happening in your life, because let's be fair, when we're in that cycle, that's all we can think about. Today's going to be another bad day because. So instead of trying to reduce that, okay, we've got to sort of accept that that is happening. And sometimes it's outside of our control. We can't control what's going to go on in the local authority. We can't control what's happening in school. We can't control our child's anxiety. So instead of trying to focus on the negativity and trying to reduce our negative thoughts, try increasing your positive thoughts. Set yourself a challenge. Find one positive thing in every day that you can celebrate. Create things to look forward to. And I must say, unless you prioritize this, it's just not going to happen. You need to balance your thoughts, but you have to insert the positive ones. You have to increase the positive ones. The positive ones are the ones you've probably got the most control over. So create opportunities for more positive things to happen. Put something in your diary that you're really going to look forward to. For instance, we have some Christmas pub quizzes coming up. I say pub because it's not happening in a pub, but it's a pub quiz style event. We've got some Christmas pub quizzes. They're all free. We've got two of them in our hub in Derby happening on Friday the 8th of December. And then we have one online on the 20th of December. They're all free. If you come to our hub, the drinks are free, the food is free, the quiz entry is free, and there are prizes, okay? So there's no reason why you can't get involved in this. It's all free. We're offering this to you. We're going to put it on free. Putting that in your diary and booking it in is going to give you something to look forward to. And it's going to be fun, okay? Because I'm involved, particularly in the one in the hub, and I'm designing this quiz, and it's going to be fun. Plus, you can get drunk if you want to. We've got mulled wine. It's all free. So putting something like that, if that's what you're into your calendar, booking it in will give you something to focus towards. And also, you know, when you're having that bad day, you've got something to drive you, something nice to put a smile on your face, but you have to prioritize it. Okay. Another thing, so that's the positive versus negative thing. Another thing is anxiety is driven by a conscious or subconscious what if. So, for instance, we are either consciously or subconsciously thinking, what if this goes wrong? What if they don't like me? What if I fall over? What if my child doesn't make friends? We need to consciously change this mindset to what if it goes right? What if they like me? What if I make new friends? What if I succeed? What if I don't fall over? What if my child really thrives? It works. Trust me. I tried this with one of my most anxious children. She's quite a sensitive little soul and she fawns a lot. So if she actually feels like, oh, I don't quite understand what's going on in this situation, she'll throw out lots and lots of positive compliments towards people. Oh, I love your dress. You look so beautiful. I love your lipstick. That really suits you. And it's not that she doesn't mean it, but she is a sensitive little soul with she's just really, she comes across as very cute, but very, very vulnerable. And she worries about everything. She wouldn't take part in things because she was worried about the failure. She was worried about everything sort of leading to disaster. And we started to work on changing our mindset to what if it goes well. She's now an active member of a choir and an active member of a dance school. And she absolutely loves both. And because she's seen her own success, it's fed her motivation and it's fed her self-esteem. So she is self-fulfilling now, which is just absolutely beautiful to see. And her confidence has come on. And this is a child who's been that very nervous child. She's 9. She's been very, very nervous right up until her 9th birthday. And she was ready to make the switch to do these new things with a new mindset. And it's fascinating. So it doesn't matter how young, you can change that mindset. Better when they're young, actually. But us as adults, we also need to have that mindset so that we can actually pass it on to our kids. Now, there's so much more I could share with you on this. And it's, I could spend hours talking about this. By all means, keep the comments coming. I'm going to check the comments in a second. But I'm going to go on to a little bit more about what else we can do at home. Because I've talked about thought blockers, I've talked about breathing, the brain, the amygdala, the vagus nerve. You know, we've touched upon all of those things. And by all means, if you need to go back through this and write a list of the things that I've mentioned, please do. This video will be live on Facebook forever and ever. What we also need to do is busy our hands with an enjoyable task. So when you see how therapists work, they often, particularly play therapy, which adults don't take part in enough as far as I am concerned. But as you know, when you look at a child psychotherapist, a real decent one, they will use a variety of different tools that busy a child's hands. So for instance, 2 of my children have weekly trauma-based therapy. From being send siblings, and their trauma-based therapy is very much based on doing something with their hands, and every week they come out with something that they've made, and it's absolutely lovely. And they also come out with a story that has sort of developed around that task, and how they feel like they've just fixed a little conflict in their head, which was massive to them. But they fixed it over making this item, this thing that they've made that they're really, really proud of. That extends to us as adults as well. You know, when we're doing craft or art or writing or making something, we can often feel like we put, or playing games on your phone. I know that I find that really, really helpful. I've got like a bubble bursting game. It sounds so naff, but a lot of my thinking goes on subconsciously whilst I'm doing that game, and it really helps me to strategize. So we can actually get quite a lot done through those things. Join a class if you feel that you can. Have a look locally at different classes. Or if you don't want to join a class or it's not accessible to you, have a look on YouTube. See if you can find some ideas of what to do and make something. I know that I always like to make something. If I'm going to make something, it needs to be something I can use, something that's practical, maybe a decoration of some variety, you know, particularly this time of year. Then do that. We are running a wreath making workshop, but it's sold out. But I'm telling you now, that is so therapeutic. If you can get booked onto a wreath making workshop somewhere, that is one of the loveliest tasks ever. And our wreath making, I think, is sold out within a few days of us putting it onto our website, because I think people do see the benefit of doing that. Plus, you walk away with something that's beautiful and for your door. Another thing that we're putting on this year is Christmas card making workshops and Christmas wrapping workshops. And last year we did it and it was so beautifully therapeutic. Everybody was just so happy and content and calm. And everybody walked out with their presents wrapped, and they walked out with Christmas cards ready to go. And it was something that people felt quite proud of. So again, I mean, we've got some spaces actually left on that one. So if you want the details, just comment and we'll give you the details. It's in our hub in Derby. But again, you know, look for a workshop locally that does that sort of thing. Or make your own, you know, pop into Hobbycraft or The Works or whatever, and pick up your crafting kits and get crafting. It's something I do a lot with my children. I felt, because I work really long hours, this is a very, very demanding job, and for all of us at Sunshine Support, because we can never be available enough for the people who need us. But we have to force ourselves to be away from work, otherwise it just doesn't happen. We could quite easily work 20 hours a day, easy, 7 days a week. So one of the things I made a conscious decision of a couple of months ago was to close my laptop down and do something that my children really, really enjoy, because the chances are I will enjoy it as well. And they absolutely love crafting. And I had to put my own sort of OCD issues to one side about glitter and just get the glitter out and enjoy. And now we have glitter everywhere, and it's like wherever you move in the house, it's there. We find it in our food. It's just everywhere. But what a lovely, lovely thing that we've done together. One of the things that we've been doing as well is looking at old gift bags that people have given us and just like jazzing them up, adding glitter to them. And all of a sudden you've got new gift bags. So you can upcycle things. It doesn't have to be a wardrobe. I'm not really good at all of that. But, you know, looking at the things that's accessible around the house and making something, or doing some stuff with your kids and co-regulating with a trusted person, which can often be your children. And I think it is so important to spend that time, but again, book it in and make that conscious decision to do it. Busy your mind. This is another, you know, busying your mind is really, really, it's important to busy our hands, busy your mind, maybe watch a film, read a book, things that might spark some thinking and some healing. Self-reflection is also very, very difficult, but very, very good in terms of looking after yourself, because so often we are, particularly if you're a bit neurospicy like me, which I think many of us are. If you're coming here because you've got a neurodivergent child, chances are you're neurodivergent as well, whether you realize it or not. But that self-reflection is really important, because so often we can come out of situations feeling like we're in the wrong, or that we're in the right and we're actually in the wrong. And that self-reflection can actually be a really good way of accepting something that we've done, whether we've done it or not, whether it's good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whatever, and removing the shame from that. You go, okay, I made a bit of a mistake there, let's put it right, rather than sitting in this sort of on the periphery of something that's happened and not really addressing it. Self-reflection is really good. And do something fun. Do something fun. This is all kind of like, you know, healing and therapeutic and stuff. Go and do the crazy thing that you've been putting off. Last night, I went out with Emma, one of our staff members. Emma runs our inquiries. We did a pub quiz on Gavin and Stacey. I absolutely love Gavin and Stacey. I don't know whether it's because I'm Welsh and I've married an English man. I don't know. Wouldn't necessarily say we are Gavin and Stacey. Probably wouldn't say either that we're Nessa and Smithy. But anyway, it's one of my special interests, I guess. I absolutely love it. And I was really excited to do a pub quiz on Gavin and Stacey. I don't go out. I work. That is my special interest mainly. I don't have hobbies. I work. I work a stupid amount of hours, probably about 100 hours a week. I work because I love what I do. I love learning. I love helping people. Anyway, this pub quiz was absolutely amazing. I was sat there with my J2O, or the equivalent, and having the best time. And I must say, we won. Of course we won. It's my special interest. But it was great fun. And I thought, I put that in my diary 3 weeks before. I was looking forward to it. I was revising by watching all the TV programs. And it made my life actually really enjoyable on the run up to it, because there was lots of talk about it, and I was sharing different things with Emma and sort of saying, oh, look, I found this quiz online. We could revise on this. I was quite obsessed with it, to be fair. But I was really pleased I did it, and it was fun, and I laughed, and I forgot about work for a minute, and I forgot about the stresses and strains, and I forgot about my current health problems, which are enormous. And I just forgot it all. I just had a really lovely time. Do something fun. I haven't been out for donkey's years, and that was really fun. So go and do it. Go and do the thing, whatever it may be. It could be a zip wire. It could be tobogganing. It could be going shopping. It could be going to Costa and getting a coffee. It could be going for that walk, going for a run, being silly. Do something silly. Go on a Santa run. Do something crazy. Be young again. Don't accept the status quo. Just do something fun. Come to one of our pub quizzes. It's going to be great. If Christmas is your special interest, this is great. But do something you love, because those hormones that are released when we do something we love are so good for us. They're so good for us, and they feel so lovely, and we always feel good afterwards, because actually, like I said earlier, by putting it all off, you start to resent the challenging stuff, and that's just creating even more negative thoughts. And like I said, we really need to be focusing on creating positive thoughts, and we have to be conscious about that. Anything that gives you that lovely rush of hormones and the fulfillment, that's what you're looking for. And a mix of everything I've spoken about today, the thought blockers, the therapies, the breathing, the fun stuff, creating more positive, all of that, put all of that together. It's not a pick and choose kind of thing. Just do them all. If you've got any practical ideas, do share. I'm going to be coming to the ideas in a second. I think one of the important things as well, I know I focused very much on caregivers and what have you, but coming back to the Christmas vibe, take a break from it. If you have a house that's full of Christmas, like mine, don't be afraid to have a Christmas-free zone, so that people can opt out. You can opt out at any time. Accept that you will probably get overwhelmed by something over the next, 6 weeks. And so will your kids. Don't force it upon you. Don't force it upon them. It might, let's just accept where we are and move around it. One of my children, when it's school holidays, we actually do a lot of booking in of downtime. And I think that's really, really important as well, is to understand that, yes, we might do these activities together. We might go to breakfast with Santa or whatever, but we know that afternoon is going to have to be downtime in order for our child to survive, emotionally this Christmas. So let me see if I've got any comments or questions for me. Bear with me. It's just loading. Okay. Oh, somebody's been putting all of the links that I've been talking about in the chat. So if there's anything in particular that you want to have a look at, like the pub quiz or anything, we've got one at 12:30 and one at 6:30. So if you want to do it while the kids are at school, you can come to that one. Or if you want to come in the evening and have a little drink or something, then you can do that as well. Joe Flower, my lovely friend from Wales, says, Christmas our way, minimal fuss and expectation, a relaxed day, dinner when it's cooked, presents opened when the children want to open them, and no rush. Oh, yes, absolutely. Reserving energy for the coming days. You're absolutely right. One of the things, one of my children's autistic with a PDA profile, and that particular child needed to know what the Christmas presents were before they were wrapped. Then we could wrap them, and then they were opened on Christmas, before Christmas, and then again on Christmas. And that was really helpful. And to the outside world and to the social medias and the Instagram families who have white feathers coming out their trees and all that kind of stuff, that just all seems a little bit bonkers, doesn't it? But that worked beautifully well. And one of the things she would say to me is, you might have wrapped a bomb. Why are you giving me something wrapped up? I don't know what's in it. And as many times as I could say, I'm your mum, I'm not going to wrap a bomb. She was like, but I don't know what's in it. Why would you hide it? I don't understand. And, that's not a wrong way of thinking. Wrapping presents is a very neurotypical thing. It's sort of derived for some families, but I think from just tradition, but it's not a tradition, it's not law. You don't have to wrap presents. So again, letting your kids open them in their own time and in their own way is really, really important. Food as well is a big thing. You do your own Christmas dinner, okay? Just do what your kids want, what you want, whatever. If that's chicken nuggets or pizza, I know somebody was saying they order pizza. I'm sure somebody last year said they were ordering pizza every year. They always order a pizza. Go for it. Have a day off cooking. How amazing. We will be sharing more tips as well to do with Christmas and send families between now and Christmas. Our social media is full. We have spent days preparing the resources, days, if not weeks, preparing resources for the next 6 weeks for you. So keep an eye on our Facebook and social media, because we've got loads coming for you. Nicole says she regularly crochets, especially when I have hit full in my head and need to process problems. Busying your hands, you see? I did make sense. Somebody says my hair looks lovely. Thank you. I had it done yesterday. Thank you. It won't last very long, will it? But there we go. There we go. That's fine. It's good for today. Let me see if there's any other comments. I'm sorry, Facebook is not showing me everything, guys, so I'm sorry if I've missed anything, but if you're watching this back, do continue to keep. I can see that there's comments there. It's just Facebook isn't showing me the comments. Oh, Nicole's just put a ton of buffet food in the freezer. As you get hungry, chuck something in. Love that idea. And I've noticed because I regularly look at the Christmas aisles in every shop that's accessible to me. And down the road, I've got a lovely Lidl. And in Lidl, they've got a full section in their freezer area on Christmas foods. And I have been now and again just picking up a pack. And they're only a couple of quid. It's really terrible processed food, but so lovely Christmas food. Anyway, I've been taking like one every week or whatever and putting it in the freezer ready, and they've got all sorts there. And so, Lidl and Aldi, they've got some really great budget stuff, and then Marks and Spencer's have always got lovely stuff that I always pick up on Christmas Eve. So yeah, anything like that, anything easy, like you said, and things to nibble on, so that, I know that my kids love Twiglets, and they love those, anything in a tin, the Twiglets in a tin, and the cheese, what they're called, cheddars. They love them, but just having them around sometimes can help as well. So you're not actually having to cook something big. Nice and healthy tips from Chrissa today. Rachel says, my daughter is so much more relaxed this year. She knows what I have and haven't got off her list. Look at that. All the time we're told, keep it secret. But actually for so many of our children, they don't want the secrets. Nicole says a wish list on Amazon, and then they can see what's gone on and what's gone, but not who it's coming from. So it's a little bit of a surprise, but not totally unknown. I love that. I love that. That's really lovely. And Rachel also says, whatever works, works. Absolutely. You do you, guys. You do you. So as I appreciate that I'm coming on a little bit earlier, I normally do an evening, but unfortunately my health is not allowing that to be possible at the moment. So mornings are going to be better. Next week, I am back on here in a morning. I can't remember the date. I will have a look for you. I might have it written down. No, I haven't got it written down. Okay, one morning next week. I'm back here talking about trauma with Kathy Long. Kathy is an independent social worker. She's a psychotherapist. She is a mental health practitioner. She's absolutely out of this world. For those who have watched her before or even worked with her, been lucky enough to work with her, she's an incredible human being. And we get on like a house on fire. We are going to be talking about trauma and parental trauma and the trauma that children go through. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that. But just to sort of keep you abreast on what we have going on, we have so much at the moment. So we've got tons of Christmas stuff going on. So the week commencing the 4th, we have lots going on in our hub. If you are local to Derby, comment that you want some more information on what's going on in our hub, and we'll share some details with you. But we've got wreath making, card making, present wrapping, and the quizzes, which will be great. We also have in Hina a free legal advice clinic and cuppa and chat drop-in. We're doing that with Spectrum Autism Festivals, Gemma there, and do have a little look at our Facebook page. You'll see all the details. We have webinars coming up on, what have we got? ARFID, Avoidant Restrictive Food Intake Disorder, which of course is a big topic at Christmas as well. Sleep. Next week, we've got Kerry, the sleep fixer, coming to help us fix our children's sleep and fix our sleep. She's doing a webinar next week. Again, another really tricky thing at this time of year. We've got a PDA webinar coming up with Libby Hill. Absolutely phenomenal. And the big premium webinar, which is taking place on the 7th of December. That is on trauma with the Janina Fisher. Janina Fisher is, for us who are interested in trauma, she's one of our goddesses. What she doesn't know about trauma is not worth knowing. So she is actually zooming in from America. And she's going to be talking to us all about trauma. It's a very in-depth thing, which is why Kathy and I are going to be on doing the basics next week, warming your understanding of trauma up so that then you feel ready to take on the next level with Janina, because she's absolutely incredible. So that's happening on the 7th. If you want the links to any of this, do let me know. We've also got sensory processing webinar on the 12th. So if you want to come along to that, then please do. And we've got another Ask Me Anything with an advocate happening on our Sunshine Academy next month as well. We've got Gabby back talking about her expertise. She is a very, very experienced Senko, speech and language teacher, and an SEN advocate at Sunshine Support. So plenty going on. If you need any advice, you just send us a message. Don't suffer in silence. We're here to help you. I hope you found this morning really helpful. If we can help, like I say, just get in touch. Just send our Facebook page a message or ping us an email. Get in touch through our website. We're here to help you. Don't suffer in silence. Use this thread as a way of supporting each other as well and making sure that we're keeping these ideas flowing. And if you are having a bit of a crisis, comment if you feel comfortable to, or send us a message and we'll help you. Okay. But I will be on again next week, so you'll see me again. And enjoy your weekend. Do keep an eye on our Facebook page. We've got lots and lots of content and lots of resources for you, free of charge, for you to download and keep over the Christmas break so that it helps you a little bit. But have a lovely day. I hope the sun continues to shine, at least where I am. And if you need us, give us a shout. Okay, see you soon. Bye.